Are you ready to catch a quantum wave to wellness? Hello, I'm Dr. Paula Opro, and I'd like to welcome you to my new podcast. If you're disappointed by mainstream medicine and are itching to jump off the hamster wheel of expensive doctor visits that produce no answers nor solutions, and you have an open mind to new ideas, you just might find this podcast channel interesting. But first, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a doctor of natural medicine, a double board certified alternative medicine practitioner, and a passionate advocate of spreading health and wellness truths. As somebody that knows all too well what it's like to struggle with chronic pain and health conditions, I want to share some of my golden aha moments that I've learned throughout my own journey back to wellness. I know what it's like to feel stuck and frustrated doing all the right things, but yet still not getting the positive results. At one point in my life, I had to give up just about everything that brought me joy, like dancing, yoga, biking, riding my motorcycle, etc., because everything hurt. I know what it's like to go to bed at night with ice packs soaking my sheets, not being able to sleep due to the pain, and angry that my otherwise perfect life was getting ruined by something I couldn't control. I knew the pain was stress-related, and I tried everything I could think of to reduce the pain and the stress. But nothing worked. And this went on for several years. I resolved to my new normal of just being in constant pain. And as we get older, this is something that so many of us do. We settle for a life we don't want because we believe in the myth that it's just part of getting old. Well, I don't want to settle for that bull crap, and I don't want you to either. So back to my story of living in pain. The breaking point for me was when the pain started to affect my work. In my late 30s and early 40s, I was a professional photographer, and I needed to carry, hold, and steady heavy equipment. This was becoming torture, and I knew I had to break down and do the dreaded turn to Western medicine. Now, back then, I still trusted doctors in white coats, and I didn't question the diagnosis of my so-called degenerative disease. I let them cut me open and insert a metal plate onto my cervical spine. If I only knew then what I know now. The metal plate was really just a Band-Aid. A temporary fix, like most Western medicine solutions are. They temporarily suppress the symptoms, but they fail to address the real root cause. Although it did bring me relief for a short time, the Band-Aid pretty quickly fell off, and I was right back to where I started, in pain and in tears. I knew I had to take matters into my own hands. After all, it was me that got me into that mess, and it could only be me to get me out. I decided I was going to learn everything I could about how the body really works and relieve myself of that pain for good. And I'm happy to say that I did just that. It's been well over a decade now of living completely pain-free. Now, I wish my story ended there with my blissfully happy ending, but the truth is, there's more to the story. Let's just call this my second chapter. And that's where this new podcast begins. So here I am, now in my mid-50s, and I'm learning that I was never totally out of the woods when I overcame that chronic pain. Now I'm still pain-free, but unfortunately I'm dealing with other new issues, things that I consider to be silent killers. Let me explain. I realize that what I'm about to tell you is, in quotes, my story, but it's a very important piece of the puzzle. And when I say my story, I mean it's the program stuck in my subconscious mind that has been running the show for most of my life. You see, when I was just 11 or 12 years old, my mother was diagnosed with cancer. I watched her deteriorate over the course of 2 years, and I lost her just after I turned 14. This major life event sent me on a course that I never was able to correct. The stress of living through this flipped on my fight or flight switch, and I was never able to shut it off. I now know that this was the stress that caused all of those neck problems back in my 30s. And despite me being able to conquer that pain, I am now seeing all the other issues that constant low-grade stress can cause in the body. For instance, Adrenal burnout from the constant stress impacts the thyroid, causing it to lose its ability to regulate and create hormones. In case you didn't know, hormones control just about everything in our body, and without the proper balance, a laundry list of problems arise. We can muscle through a lot of this until menopause hits, and then forget about it. That's when the body naturally loses its ability to regulate itself, doubling the negative impact. Years of chronic constipation from a digestive system that could never switch into the rest and digest mode created a cascade of hidden issues like parasites, candida, fungus, leaky gut, malabsorption, etc. All of these things wreak absolute havoc on our organs and all body systems, leading to an overload of toxins in the liver, high cholesterol, systemic inflammation, and the list goes on. The absolute worst thing you can do is live in constant stress, and sometimes I think it's that low-grade stress that's even worse than the high-pressure stresses of work, parenting, finances, and things like that. I'm calling this unrecognized trauma. There are many people that have lived through terrible traumas like child abuse or sexual abuse, and they're well aware that they're scarred for life. Many of these people seek out mental and emotional help and support throughout their life. But then there's me. I didn't even realize that I hadn't recovered from my early childhood trauma. I, like most people, thought I was a resilient kid and I would just get over it. And I truly thought I did. I was a strong, happy, well-balanced, popular, straight-A, overachiever kid. I had no idea that I was suffering for most of my life. Which leads me to an important theme that I plan to discuss through these podcasts. The whole idea about being a type A, overachieving workaholic. Those qualities that I've always been proud of are clear signs of feeling unloved and unworthy. This is so much more clear to me at this point in my life. So let me just end this first episode by telling you that I now realize that all my chronic health issues are stemming from repressed emotional shock and trauma from my early childhood. And let me just be clear on something. No matter how great of a childhood you think you had, nobody has gotten to adulthood without carrying some of this hidden baggage with them. It's this invisible energy that's at the very root of any chronic problem you're having in your life. And it's this invisible energy that I happen to specialize in. My goal is to help you identify and release these hidden energetic blocks so you can reclaim your vitality, move forward, and live your life to the fullest, making the rest of your life the best of your life. I hope you'll follow me through my own journey back to wellness and wholeness. I am always making new discoveries, trying new things, and sharing my experiences. Thank you for listening, and welcome to Quantum Waves.